Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. I have an amazing guest. This is somebody that I've known for years. My gosh, we've been on vacation together. We've even done some stage work together. But today I am here to talk about her autobiography, On My Way. Ladies and gentlemen, Martine Beswicke. Martine, welcome.
Hello. Hi.
How
Hello.
are you?
Hello, David. I'm actually pretty good today. I've
Good.
recovered from 5 weeks in the USA.
Oh my goodness. What were you doing in
Five
the U.S.?
weeks. Well, the first thing was that I did a show in Pittsburgh. Lovely, lovely show. Monster Bash. Absolutely fabulous. And then, of course, I went to see all my tribes in Los Angeles because I lived there for so long.
Right.
And basically bed hopped around Los Angeles and Santa Barbara
Oh, well, that sounds fun.
from one to the other. And of course, what did we do? Darling, do you fancy a glass of wine? Oh, sure, darling. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, why not?
Oh my gosh. And that was for weeks on end that you did this.
So it's taken a few days
I
to
bet.
recover for the big day tomorrow.
You have a very big day tomorrow. So what exactly is happening tomorrow?
The launch of my autobiography.
Yes. We are so excited. I have to tell you, I received the autobiography about a week ago, and I started to just look at a couple of excerpts so we could do this interview together. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying this because we're friends. I could not put it down. And and again, I'm going to be very transparent in this interview with you. I came for the James Bond material, but I found out so much more things from heart to heart, things from the $6 million man, ups and downs, and dare I say, some scary moments. So let's turn this all the way back. Why did you, why did you want this autobiography to reach the public?
Well, first of all, I'm I have not even seen the actual book.
Oh, I saw it before you?
Yes, I mean it's incredible. So
Not fair.
you saw it before me, and you were able to look at it. I mean, I only saw it online. I mean, like a little, But this is how fabulous! Oh, you couldn't put it down?
No, no, no. Really, I could not put it down because, when you think you know somebody, but then you understand the amazing journey that you have taken, it is the stuff of storytelling. I loved it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, David. Oh my God. Yeah, because you see, the thing is that I don't because I haven't held it. I really don't know how I'm feeling about this all. I
Oh,
mean, yes, I did it.
yeah,
Yes, I was pleased. And yes, we had a wonderful, I mean, Simon was fabulous. I mean, really,
as
it
he
was
always.
great. He's lovely. And the
Yeah.
thing is, he'd never done it before, you
Hmm.
know. So I said to him, I said, well, I said, you haven't done an autobiography. Neither have I. So we're virgins together, darling.
Perfectly put. Perfectly put. How
And
did he get these stories out of you? Because, knowing what to share and not to share, what does that even look like?
but actually, the thing was that, I mean, first of all, we started with, childhood and growing up and all of that, which was very important. I had
Absolutely.
to have that backing. And so we went through that. And every time, I have to say before, stop on that. The reason why I did it eventually, because I've been asked to do this for decades.
Hmm.
And I refuse to do it because everybody is saying, listen, you've lived a very colorful life, Martine. So why don't you put a lot of that color in? I said, no, I don't kiss and tell, honey.
Hmm.
So I refuse to do that kind of book.
Right.
And then some friend said to me, finally, 10 years ago, I know maybe a few years ago, actually said, why don't you write from the point of view of what your life is really all about, which is the people in your life, the friends in your life, the stories that you've told us. Why don't you write from that point of view? And I kind of thought about that, and I sort of played with it. And that's when I approached Simon after I'd had a few.
Always a
So
good
I
way to
put,
do it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we were at a Bond event, and I just suddenly went, he might be the perfect person. So when I approached him, he says, "Well, I've never done it before." He said, "Let me think about it." And then I said, "Okay, great." So next day, I get 10 questions, really serious questions, and I go, "Oops,
Yeah.
this
What
is
have I done?
serious.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh my God, I'm caught in my oh dear."
Yeah.
And then I asked her a question because they were very good questions. What
Yeah.
did I want to do? Why did you do it? Blah, blah, blah. And so that was the beginning. And really and truly, we went through the whole childhood. And I loved doing it with him because he was wonderful. Because we set up every week, Monday to Friday, we set up a Zoom either an hour or 2 hours every day. And so that was important because I have no discipline.
Wow.
So
Honest.
we needed to set up a bit of discipline for the wild child. And
Yes.
and so when we did that, then I would tell the stories and he would just write it as I told them.
Right.
Now, sometimes what would happen is that I would go off. I mean, it went really well, and remembering was kind of interesting
I can
because
imagine.
I had no diary. All my diaries were lost on the way because I've left them around the world. Please God, please don't find some of them.
Yeah. That's going to be the book.
Oh no, 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 no. So um, we kind of went through. I went through. The only diaries I had was from 73 or 74
Mm.
in the garden shed in huge boxes. So I
Wow.
had to go through all of that. And all the stuff I remember beginning, it's interesting because I remember very well my childhood. And I can actually almost kind of, I mean, when somebody tells me a story, I have a camera that goes on. So it's a film immediately. And so in a way, I have these kind of like inner cameras that go way back to when I was a little girl.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to kind of come up with that, which is interesting because I lost a few somewhere along the line, like, teens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, it was an interesting way to go. And then we went through all my work. And at the end of it, I said, well, this is what I want to do. And he said, well, maybe we should finish here. I said, I said, I have a whole life and I want to put that in there. There's things in there that I want to put in. And he was really good with me because basically I'm going, oh my God, oh, I love this place. They're so gorgeous and I had so much fun and they're so lovely and my darling this and my darling that. He said, Martine, Martine, I need the stories to back it. Okay.
Very good.
And I said, yeah, I know, you're right. And he just kind of guided me, which was great. And he sort of had a little rein on me and was actually perfect because then I could come up with the goods.
Yes.
And that is, and I did manage to get the flavor. I don't know if you got it, the flavor of the fact that people in my life are incredibly important. In
Absolutely.
fact, could not exist without them. I do not know how people exist without friends. And I am a greedy cow. I love my friends. I'm madly in love with my friends.
Hmm.
And I am always happy to have as many as I can.
I will say it's more than the flavor of the book, and I'll tell you as a reader, someone that voraciously went into the book, I expected a few little tidbits of like your point of view on things. I didn't realize it was going to be a chronological journey of your life. And then as I read it and then sort of looked back on it, what I realized was your life wasn't dotted by events. It was dotted by people, and there were
Yes.
events that actually revolved around the people. You would talk around about Terrence and the people that you met, and different actors, but also just normal people within your life that influenced you when you were up at your peak and also when you were down. And the one consistency was the people, was your friends. So I understand it.
Thank you. Oh, that
Oh,
is what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted, because
it was
that is
so effective.
that is who I am.
Yeah, there was a few points too, and this is me again being blunt.
Oh, please. Oh, yeah. Give it to me, babe.
There were a few times as a reader where I'm reading this, and I also realize people are the most important things in your life, but also people that you encountered. Some people were the biggest agony of your life. Photographers that would entrap you, or filmmakers in the hammer thing, shooting up in a nudity scene, trying to get a scene, and you putting your foot down and saying no, 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 and just not compromising as an individual. So I think your people are your greatest joy, and your people sometimes are your obstacles. Would you say that's true?
Ah, but very few in the obstacle.
That's good.
See, there are very few in the. There's a lot of good stuff over here, and there's very few. There are only a few that and luckily, I mean, I suppose really, I mean, I always say I was a feminist before I knew what a feminist was.
Mm.
So, anybody who, kind of tried to, nail me or do whatever, I just, please, no, 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 no,
Yeah, exactly.
no, no, no. So, I mean, really, I was lucky because I really did not have a lot of what other actresses had.
Yeah.
I only had a few, like two or three, which I had to put my foot down.
That's true. And what I noticed in the book, and again, I want to give my audience my first impressions, but I guess you as well, since you
I
haven't
love it.
completely
I'm
opened.
loving it, David.
Yeah, even in those moments, you still found joy. You still found the positive and saying, well, here I am on this island. I have to take the pictures, but my gosh, what an island and what a moment. And look at me. And I love that about you, is that I think there's something for the reader to take away in saying that there is going to be adversity and there's going to be ups and downs, because that's life, but you can find joy in everything.
I do. I do. I mean, that is kind of it's sort of in my DNA actually,
Hmm.
because there's always, the glass is definitely half full for me.
Yeah.
It is never half empty.
And by the way,
Even down to the very bottom, even when disaster. Oh my God, I can't go on. It lasts about 5 minutes. I get so bored at that.
but that's the thing with you. The glass is never half empty, because I've seen your glasses and they're always full. Put it down, but then someone's always pouring more. I will say this, and I wanted to ask you about this because obviously my channel focuses on James Bond. There is so many wonderful Bond moments here. And I thought, this is my confession to you, because you need a confession right now.
I love it. I love David. You're just the person I needed. Just the person
Oh,
I needed right now.
well,
Truly,
my
really.
confession to you is I thought I knew every story. We've known each other for years. I've interviewed you, I don't know how many times. You and I have talked, one to one in the Bahamas and different places. I thought I knew every story. This book, I assure the reader, has so many incredible Bond stories that I did not know, the way rehearsals went, or the amount of work you had to do. And yes, your relationships with the Bond people. I didn't realize that you were friends. You were this close to those individuals. It was a
Oh,
wonderful story.
oh, absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, and I feel very lucky to have had those relationships. I mean, and the first one that comes up is Terence.
Oh,
Oh, I loved Terence. I mean,
yeah,
Terence was sort of, and he indulged me
as he
in
should.
my caviar taste. So of course I love him. No, but he was a
Well,
really,
there,
he was lovely, 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 lovely.
I don't want to give too many spoilers away because everything I want people to consume it new, but there is one small story I'll tell that I think illustrates this. But it was with your candidacy, if you will, for Thunderball coming back as Paula, and Terrence wanted you without question, and then Harry Saltzman didn't, and Terrence basically put his foot down.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I loved him even more. I mean,
Exactly. Tell me a little bit about the pride that you have in being a Bond girl.
let me tell you something. When Bond girls meet, in fact, they're going to be, my Bond girls are going to be at my launch,
I heard.
right? And I love them. I mean, and when we meet, there is, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but there is a real bond between us
Yeah,
because no one, or no other actress, if you've not been in a Bond film and been a Bond girl, being a Bond girl, they do not have that experience. Nobody else has that experience except Bond girls. We've all had this experience, and so we can always say, I mean, it's like Caroline, who's my sister, but I have a lot of sisters. Luciana, my darling Luciana. So all of these girls, and when I see them, it's just like total joy, total joy. And we understand our experience is unique.
yeah,
So it really forms a solid bond. Even, I
yeah.
mean, I only met one of the newer ones, and
Yes.
immediately I met her in at Cannes, actually. What's her name? She was gorgeous,
Was it
absolutely
Marlowe?
gorgeous.
Was it Bernice
Sorry?
Marlowe?
Yeah,
Bernice Marlowe?
oh,
Yeah.
she was absolutely, I was like, oh my God, you're so gorgeous. And she was the only one I met. But again, we walked down the red carpet holding hands.
Holding hands.
It
Amazing.
was just immediately an understanding of where we'd all gone, where
Yeah.
we'd all been. So it's really, it's a very interesting, it's a very interesting club.
I've seen this personally. And the one thing I
Mhm.
can remark to everybody watching right now is that these women are not playing for the camera. They're not pretending to like each other for the shots and the share the video. There is so much adoration for each other, which I think is interesting because people think Bond girls outside of the people that have met you and other Bond girls, and they think lust. They think beautiful women, and yes, they're beautiful. Of course, they look great in bikinis, and they're beautiful today. But I think something transforms as a Bond fan when you meet a Bond girl, and it goes from the thinking of, oh, I lusted after this person, and now there's adoration, there's respect. And I think that's the consistency I see in Bond fans to Bond girls.
Yep,
Would you say that's true?
absolutely. I mean, we're revered.
Yeah.
And every time we meet, when we meet in one of these things, especially since the great El Presidente, Philip, has taken over the UK, every time we meet, there's like, 10 of us together. And we all look at each other, and it is just like, wow, wow. I
Unbelievable.
mean, we just, I mean, and look at it, and I think, how fabulous. And we turn to each other and go, my God, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
It really does. It really
It
does.
is.
And
Yeah.
I will say this book does a very nice job painting those relationships. You do talk about the fans in there. You talk about, the relationships. What again surprised me as a reader, and I want people to know this when they purchase the book, is how prolific you have been in all of the shows that we're familiar with. I mean, I was again reading all these things, Sledgehammer and Heart to Heart, and then I got to the $6 Million Man and the two episodes that you were in. And I want you to know, I went and I watched one of those episodes with you. and you were so fantastic. I mean, if people loved you in Thunderball, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I wore my Sean Connery Thunderball shirt.
Yes,
I got
yes.
my Sean Connery Rolex on for you. So
Bravo, baby.
I came dressed for you.
Ah, thank you, my darling.
$6 Million Man, it was one of my favorite shows. I had the toy growing up, and knowing that someone like you, who I adore, has been a part of my childhood, my adult years, I feel like in a way we've taken this journey together.
Yeah, how lovely. Well, I have to say, it is again when I met you, which I don't know how long ago that was when I met you, but particularly Bahamas,
Yes.
2 years ago, Bahamas. I mean, I thought, oh, he's lovely. So back to I go, this is it. Oh my God, I love him. Oh my God, he's so fabulous. Oh, you know,
Shucks.
Simon, Martine,
Yeah.
Martine, I know they're all lovely. I know you love them and I know they're all darlings, but come on.
Focus. Focus. Yeah. Yeah. Thank goodness for Simon that kept you on target. And he is, just to talk about Simon for a moment, he's one of those people that can channel a location. He's done so many location books.
Brilliant.
It's, to me, and I've said this to Simon, it's not so much the locations that makes the book special. It's the
No,
people he runs into. And the fact that he was able to amplify and magnify your life in and around other people is a testimony to his skills.
he is really, I tell you, the thing that actually drew me to him too was the fact that his book was not, as you say, just about the location. It's about the history
Yes.
behind the location. And he's a master researcher.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, and I thought, and in fact, he actually, he did that on my book because I'd talk about something, I'd talk about Albion, or I'd talk about something else. He was on it right away and he was like searching out and trying to find, those things and trying to find names and I mean, I loved working with him. I just, well, I'm in love, honey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As we all are. Now, you have tomorrow, as we're recording this, tomorrow, you have a very big event. This is the global launch of On My Way, your book. And
Bloody hell.
there's going to be an audience. There's representation from around the world. There's a representative from Eon there is going to be there, Meg Simmons. So, I mean, you've got quite an audience, not to mention we'll all be watching. Number one, are you nervous? And number two, what do you want people to hear from you?
Do I mean, first of all, nervous. I have no idea because I really don't know how I feel. I have
Good.
no idea how I'm feeling. First of all, and I was talking to I have a wonderful friend who I did my last film with, Joshua Kennedy, who is I call him my husband. We're husband and wife. We met when he was 19. He's now 30, but we've been married for, 11 years.
Yeah.
I have all sorts of people. Anyway, he's my husband. And, I was talking to him last night and he's about to do, Little Shop of Horrors and he's going to be acting in it and in Texas and I'm doing this on the same time. And I said, I don't know how I'm feeling. I, I mean, there's a bit of me that's overwhelmed and I'm not really nervous. I don't really know. He said, well, have you got the book? I said, no, I never held the book. He says, that's what it is. He said, you have not got, you haven't got the thing.
Yeah.
Have not held it. I've just seen it on screen. So in a way, I can kind of say, okay, that's why.
Yeah.
What I want, the thing that I want from that book too, is for people to really understand the power of love, to really, to really realize and recognize that it is about loving yourself and loving other people, loving your friends. And I want to see, and the joy that you get, and let's face it, I did a magazine several years ago, and the title of the thing was "It's All About the Fun."
Hmm. I love.
And you got to have fun. And I mean, no matter what happens, no matter how hard things are, or how, you know, maybe your bloody tire is flat. Now what the fuck? You go, I'll fix it. It'll be fine. Whatever it is, whatever comes, any challenges, and when they come, and
Sure.
when they come, you go. At first, you go, and then
Right.
you go, okay, what can you do? And then you move on. And I'd like people to I want people to get the joy in life. I
Hmm.
do. I want people to find the fun in life, even the little things. I mean, a tree, a flower. I mean, that's so. I'm hoping that there's enough of that in the book to kind of go, you know what? Maybe I'll think that way.
Yeah. I will say
But I don't
this.
know. What do you think?
Well, I will tell you exactly what I think about that. There are so many excerpts in the book where you are being, like you said, showered with champagne and going on world promotional tours. And eh, there's joy in that. And then you talk about in the book moments where Hollywood wasn't knocking on the door. You were doing service jobs and even helping people organize moving their house, but I still felt the same joy coming off the book. The fact that you were helping people and taking things off of their plate and servicing and being relevant, and important, and finding people that could bring you joy to yourself. And I will tell you this, and I know this sounds very dramatic, and I'm not playing for the camera here when I say this. When I was done with reading this, I sort of just sat back. There's a chair right there in my office where I can just kind of, almost lay down. And I remember just walking over and just thinking about you and thinking about the amount of joy that you've seen and continue to see. And a part of that is your circumstances, but most of it is this: it's the way you filter every experience in your life brings you joy. And I think it's a lesson to be learned by all of us.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you.
That's true.
Because that's the whole point. Because when people say, "Oh my God, I can't do this because of this," I said, "Darling, let's face it. Remember, the glass is half full. It's not half empty." Yeah, but there is no. Yeah. Yes, but you have all these friends, and I said yes, and you have friends too. So same thing. I mean, there's always that. There's always somebody who goes, "I can't do it. It's just I can't do it." I'm
I,
here to tell you, you can.
I will tell you, and again, as an eyewitness, you are very often surrounded by young people, people in their 20s, 30s, to you and I, those are young people. And it is such an important lesson, I think, for that age group to hear, because nowadays, I do think young people, they see a small, challenge in their life and it becomes insurmountable to them. They blow it
Mm-hmm.
up in huge proportions. And to have people like yourself, and I try to also spread joy on my channel, I try to keep
Yeah.
everything positive. The more they can see this, the more they, I think, will emulate joy in their life. So I think it's a job well done.
Thank you, darling. Well, the thing is, too, let's face it, there is the reason why we hit it off is because you have that joyous spirit too.
I do.
You have a joyous spirit, and therefore, even if I see a glimmer of joy,
Hmm.
I'm going to be digging it out.
Yeah, just pull that thing. Just
I'm just going to be tickling it out, going, "Ooh, let's have fun," you know. So, but you have that. You emanate. Your joy emanates from you. So,
yeah.
this is like minds, darling, like
This
mine.
interview has been as good for me as it is for you. I'll take this throughout the day,
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I mean, and I thank you so much, really, for your comments, because it means a lot to me. I hear it from Phil. Everybody, it reads really well. We love it. We adore it. Blah blah blah. but this is like they're right here. So
Yeah.
coming from someone sort of outside of the actual writing
Mhm.
is really thank you,
Oh,
darling, because I
you're welcome.
really it's almost like I needed to hear somebody who had read it and who got it.
Oh, it was, and I wasn't even part of the process. So I am one of the first readers to just take it in cold. And I will say that you're going to be hearing a lot more of these comments because people are going to walk away with a lot of joy. I put the link in the comments down below so people can purchase this, but obviously you're going to be seeing people in person. So Martine, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh my God. I am so thrilled. I'm thrilled to see you. Look at that face. I mean, I'm sorry. This is like joy. It is. David, you are joy, you know. So I love being around people who are joyous
Well,
because,
thank
and if they're not, and if they have a little glimmer, as I said, don't you think that I'm going to not dig it out?
That's right. It is my
It's like
goal. I will get it
Simon.
out of you.
My favorite thing with Simon was, you know, because he's very sort of quiet
Oh, yes.
and he's very sort of introspective. And when we started, I said, you realize, of course, that you're mine now. He said, yes, I've kicked and screamed and I thought I'd get away with it. I said, sorry, all
I
over.
love that.
It's all over.
Everybody should own a Simon every now and then. Come on. Why
And
not?
we just adore each other. So we've come like, wow, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, we are going to let you get prepared for your wonderful trip in, and we will be in touch shortly. And I hope next year, listen, next year is the anniversary of Thunderball. I
I
know we're going to
know,
be seeing each other.
I know. And of course, we're talking about launching in Jamaica.
I've heard things. I've heard things.
I
Yeah.
mean, so I better kind of, get myself together, keep going.
You're together. You're together already. I'm looking forward to seeing you. But in the meantime, go enjoy the amazing ride. You deserve it. The book is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Martine Beswicke, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you. Mwah.
Thanks for watching The Bond Experience. If you like what you saw, why don't you subscribe to the channel by clicking this button right here. We'll keep you up on everything new that's happening in the world of Bond. And speaking of something new, here's something new just for you because we know you so well. Talk to you soon.